I used a drop of my own blood to bring you back to consciousness. Ghost Path disciple, please tell me where is deist lie?" The leader approached us threateningly, step by step. It was just that person's ancient beat technique that had already drained all my mental energy. This commander in front of us is not easy to deal with. I started to retreat, but Wang Pangzi snatched the porcelain sword from my hand and stepped forward to scold me. "The porcelain sword is here. A mere cult from the South Seas dares to act wild here." He was not afraid of the leader, only worried about having to fight to the death. Wang Pangzi spat a mouthful of blood onto the porcelain sword, then raised it high. "Fatty, I'm going to stop him." As soon as Danhua spoke, I was stunned by what I saw. As the blood from his tongue splattered onto the porcelain sword, its brilliance intensified, and that light continued to brighten until it became unbearable to look at from afar. Lai Gang and Xiangxi have begun to retreat, the light of the porcelain sword shining like a beacon, eroding the malevolent energy surrounding them. Even the bone beads in the sorcerer's hand began to tremble, and with the emergence of malevolent energy, faint sounds of ghostly wails could be heard from within. Wan Pangzi approached the sorcerer step by step, and the sorcerer stepped back. Once he distanced himself from Wan Pangzi, he suddenly turned and fled in embarrassment, completely losing his earlier invincible demeanor. "Master, wait for me." Lai Gang saw the witch doctor run away and immediately got so scared that he rolled and crawled away. I quickly said to Wan Pangzi, "Hurry, chase after him. Don't let Lai Gang get away." Lai Gang said that Wan Pangzi was already breaking out in a cold sweat. Just now, using his shock of blood to activate the magnetic sword's brilliance had taken a huge toll on him. At this moment, the sound of ghostly wails has begun to emerge. Lai Gang said that Wan Pangzi was already sweating coldly. The earlier shock had greatly drained his energy to activate the magnetic sword's brilliance. Lai Gang said that Wan Pangzi had already broken out in a cold sweat, and the recent surge of blood to activate the magnetic sword's brilliance had taken a huge toll on him. Lai Gang said that Wan Pangzi was already breaking out in a cold sweat. The recent surge of blood to activate the magnetic sword's brilliance took a tremendous toll on him. Lai Gang said that Wan Pangzi was already sweating coldly. The recent surge of blood to activate the magnetic sword's brilliance took a huge toll on him. Lai Gang said that Wan Pangzi was already breaking out in a cold sweat, as the recent surge of blood had consumed a lot of energy to unleash the magnetic sword's glow. Lai Gang said that Wan Pangzi was already sweating coldly, and the recent surge of blood to activate the magnetic sword's brilliance had taken a huge toll on him. "Why, everyone, I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that." Wilius, "I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that." Known as the Ghost Market, and enter the Ghost Market. We must find the Heavenly Gate. Tianmen is hidden in Fenghuang Valley, guarded by the Miao priests of generations. Over 40 years ago, before the wizard left, the Witch King and the Valley King have arrived. Let them guard Phoenix Valley instead. Then the arrangement was traced. The Heavenly Gate opens only at the midnight of the 15th day of the 7th lunar month each year. Only then will it appear. You were born on the 15th day of the 7th lunar month at midnight. Extreme yin fate. You can walk between the realms of yin and yang. So, the best candidate to open this Heavenly Gate. Only you will do. I asked. Today is already July 12th. In other words, at midnight the day after tomorrow, the Heavenly Gate will appear. The fat man nodded. So, we must hurry to Phoenix Valley. I always feel that something is off, but as for where it went wrong, I can't find it again. The fat man checked out after eating fast food. That night, we headed towards Phoenix Valley. Kaiandongan and Xiangxi Street led from the same Miao region. All the way, I once asked the chubby guy, what kind of person is the wizard of the Witch Gate? Why was he the one guarding Phoenix Valley before? Wang Pangzi told me, the wizard of the Witch Gate is equivalent to the celestial master of the Learning Gate. If the wizard hadn't gone missing back then, that person from the north doesn't dare to step into Miaojang. I said again, since the sorcerers are so powerful, that person from the north. Have you never been to the ghost market? Entered before. It was entered during the time when the wizard was present. He seems to have discovered something secret inside. Let him always keep it in mind. The year after the wizard left, he broke into Xiangxi, on one hand, wanting to rely on force, the strong ones who conquer the Witch Gate, northbound with him. On the other hand, it is to break into Phoenix Valley, open the heavenly gate, so Fu Wan and Wu Wan, to prevent him from entering the heavenly gate. Only then will they fight to the death. The Witch King cast the Witch Gate forbidden technique. He was dragged until dawn, until the heavenly gate is hidden again. Missed the opportunity. He had no choice but to let it go unresolved. So that's how it is. I once thought, the person from the north, the reason we couldn't enter Phoenix Valley. It is because of the fear of the Valley King and the Witch King. The final struggle of the cornered beast, what he wanted to enter was. It is not Phoenix Valley, but rather that ghost market. But the forbidden techniques of the Witch King postpone it until the gates of heaven close. So the meaning of his staying behind. And then it was gone. When dawn breaks, we have arrived in Xiangxi. There are no roads to Fenghuang Valley. Since we need to hurry on our journey, you need to rest well first. We found a hotel to rest in Xiangxi. When I woke up in the afternoon, our mental strength has all recovered. And so they began their journey. As they passed by Widow Zhang's house, in the village where I was located, it is already dark. A wave of ominous energy surged forth. I saw Widow Zhang wandering aimlessly in the village. Behind her, following a few men with blank expressions. The chubby guy pointed inside. In this village, such a heavy aura of malice. Let's go. It's no longer necessary. This is the living quarters of the evil killer. Person from the Xuanmen school of mysticism. How can one ignore encountering a malevolent spirit? Eliminating demons and monsters is our responsibility. You truly disgraced the Ghost Tao disciples. Pangzi Meihai shot me an angry glance. He walked towards the village. This moment, he seemed to be the embodiment of justice. But what does it mean? Did we enter the village? Should we scatter all the villagers' souls to know these living spirits? Although there may be dangers at night. But during the day, he is actually no different from ordinary people. Upon entering the village, Widow Zhang came walking towards us, skin barely visible, highlighting the figure perfectly. It was the flavor of a mature woman. No point theorem. It's hard to hold on. Little mister, you finally came back. He smiled at us. It seems as if there was never a curse at all. This is, he pointed at Wang Pangzi next to me, expressed confusion. I said softly, this is my friend. At this moment, Wang Pangzi's mouth was drooling. It was Zhang Guofu who attracted me. Since you are a friend of the young master, then that would be my friend. Let's go. Go to my house. Sister has a surprise for you. The voice was teasing, wriggling the waist. He is going to take us to his home. Of course, I won't go. But at this moment, the Pangzi, already been taken by the other party. The charm has enchanted the soul. Like a trumpet dog, followed him. Pangzi, wake up. I shouted at the fat man, but a group of people suddenly blocked my way. Keep me away from the fat guy. When I conjured a magnetic sword, a few living people killed the villagers. When pushed back, the fat man has already been taken away by Widow Zhang. Meanwhile, in the village, a surge of malevolent energy swirled. The thick fog enveloped the area. Visibility is gradually decreasing. It's obvious. We fell into an ambush. I ran towards Widow Zhang's house. This Pangzi has such poor self-control. Once he left, you never know what might happen. A group of villagers rushed towards me. I raised my magnetic sword high. Under the crimson glow, they finally scattered away, but it is staring at us intently. As I headed towards Widow Zhang's house, they followed far behind, waiting for the right moment. Tanti, wake up. I pushed the door open, shouted at the already enchanted. Pangzi suddenly woke up. He pushed away Zhang Guofu, who was in his arms. Quickly retreat, but Widow Zhang was unwilling. Both hands tightly gripped the fat man's neck. The sharp nails have already pierced the flesh. Pangzi let out a loud cry of pain. A mouthful of blood spurted out. The blood splattered on Widow Zhang. Suddenly, a thick cloud of black smoke rose up. Widow Zhang let out a piercing scream. After letting go of Pangzi, stepped back in fear. He burst out of the door. Meanwhile, the villagers have blocked the entrance. The chubby guy shouted at me, "You won't last long. Quick, give me the magnetic sword." He reached out his hand. The village was filled with a sinister atmosphere, under the clash of the magnetic sword and the malevolent aura, constantly draining my mental energy. If this village has ghost walls, next we will be very passive. But I still refused. They are still alive. You can rest assured. I am saving them. Looking at Pangzi's serious expression, I still handed him the magnetic sword. After all, he is lecherous and greedy. But they are not the kind of people who commit murder. The chubby guy took the magnetic sword, walked toward the door. A mouthful of blood splattered onto the sword. The radiance of the magnetic sword shines brilliantly, illuminated the swirling mist. I frowned. This guy is at it again. If the malevolent energy cannot be dispelled, our ending is predictable. Pangzi raised his magnetic sword high, chanting a spell in my mouth. Lei Bu Du Si, Shen Zhu Gao Meng. Thunder rumbled. Thunderbolt decree. Messenger of the five thunders. Yashasu Lai. Courage does not come easily. Lingdu and Ruhan. Ko Tian Mei. Zhen Ding Kaian Kun. Zhu Sha, hurry and go. Seamless divine deception in Yuting. Urgent as a command. Once the incantation was recited, the sound of rolling thunder echoed in the sky. The villagers of Zhanhuar and Sha. Everyone is crawling on the ground, shivering with fear. And in the distance, there was a person who did not crawl on the ground. It is Widow Zhang. I am shocked. In the distance, above Widow Zhang's head, a skull appears, gazing intently at the magnetic sword in Pangzi's hand. Pangzi shouted loudly, "The ghostly path practitioner is here. Evil spirit, hurry and leave quickly." That roar was thunderous. Skull in the sky also began to tremble violently. At the same time, the villagers who were crawling on the ground, trembling, a trace of dark energy on his body, heading towards that skull, until the malevolent energy on the villagers, after everything has been drained away, there is no longer any sound. They all fell into a coma. When I woke up, I only feel incredibly weak. But there will be no danger to life. At the same time, also freed from the grievances of the living. And the skull? It has already transformed into a stream of black mist, rushed towards the village outskirts. But there was a malevolent aura around one person. It was not pulled out by that skull. It's Widow Xiang. Widow Xiang stared at me for a long time. There is disappointment in the eyes. Then, without hesitation, turning around, I ran towards the outskirts of the village, until confronting that aura of malice, disappeared into the darkness together. Betty, I didn't expect you to have this skill. I patted Wan Pangzi's shoulder and said, but Wan Pangzi suddenly collapsed on the ground. His mental energy was drained. This time is even more serious than last time. Hurry up. Wait a moment, he's coming. Wang Pangzi handed me the dim document. I hold it in my hand. It has already transformed into a circular shape. I helped Wan Pangzi up, running towards the outside of the village. But just after leaving the village for a short while, the road ahead in the distance just got stopped by someone. It is a person covered in tattoos. A middle-aged man wearing flip-flops. It is that roaring lion. A strong start, but a weak finish. Last time I was surprisingly scared off by you. The lion slowly walked towards us. I supported Wang Pangzi as he stepped back. With my strength, there is simply no way to deal with him. This guy blocked me, without any surprises. We can't escape at all. So he is not in a hurry. But his caution towards the lyrics last time, it is indeed somewhat exaggerated. He pointed at me and said, "Give me that half of the map. I won't make things difficult for you." The map he mentioned. Is it referring to... Is it the one that dropped from the ancient king last time, when I found the map left behind by the ancient king? But no one saw it. How did he know? Although there were doubts in my heart. But I can't reveal it. I said coldly, I don't have any maps. If you want to kill, then go ahead. Under the Eagle Mountain sect. Only you from the Ghost Path sect would kill your own kind. Back then, you and the Xuanmen Celestial Master, we were driven to the Southeast Asian region. But what have you gained? You deserve the decline of your ghostly ways. This is retribution. Give me that map, the legacy of the Ancestor Master. Let me be the auspicious master of the South Seas. Let the lineage continue. As for your ghostly ways, bound by those rules. Stay here. Let it live or die on its own. You are not worthy to be called disciples of the Master. Wan Pangzi sneered. Law knows no right or wrong, good or evil. Only those who use it. Either righteous or wicked. Any kind of magic. It's all to help others. Existing to maintain the balance of yin and yang. This is the true Ancestor Master. The purpose of founding the Yinshan lineage back then. The law may not be just, but the Ancestor is dedicated to maintaining the balance of yin and yang. Leave Wu Jiu. It's not some harmful technique. So, you should understand. Why are you the evil general of Nanyang? You can't transform the ancestral master's words into arrows anymore, right? The headmaster suddenly became ferocious. Questioned. This is unfair. Tell me, why can't we control the words and also be intimidated by it? Indeed, they cannot control the word arrows. And it also has to be restrained by the instinct of words and arrows. This result surprised me. The mystery path has begun. It should be to prevent the Southern Ocean's evil thoughts from moving north. The fat man sneered. Do you know why the mysterious path of martial arts is unparalleled? Each is a control poem, out of tune. Look at the wax. Is it a calculation, kill, and a deceptive division? The headmaster asked. Why, the mysterious martial arts are, in a strict sense, compared to any of your Southern Ocean's sinister thoughts, all pale in comparison. Control the poetry. It is to learn the Xiangxi poetry contest. Send off the guest who dies far from home. Fallen leaves return to their roots. The dissonance is meant to prevent the souls from wandering among the living. Ultimately, the soul is shattered. Looking at the wax is to glimpse the unpredictable future. Peeking at the horizon and calculating death is to measure the length of time. So-called deception. It's just to calculate 12 times 10 after all. It is precisely because of this. I only learn martial arts through cunning. Do not learn terrifying techniques with a lofty spirit and righteousness. The words of the ancestral master can be passed down through our lineage. However, Xiangtu Shifu just sneered after hearing that. You actually said, the strange division only existed in ancient times. To calculate the specific time difference for a day, Wang Pangzi retorted, isn't it, Job? The sun, moon, and stars change. The order of yin and yang in the universe. The extraordinary power it displays. Unimaginable. This art of deception. This is the true essence of the art of deception. It's a pity. It has been 100 years since a disciple of the Gaidao appeared, learned the legendary art of deception. He finished speaking. Suddenly their gaze turned towards me. Kid, give me the map. I won't make it difficult for you. I might actually support you. One day, you will understand my actions. At this moment, the expression on his face was extremely serious. It seems as if it's not lying. As he walked towards me, yet once again he stopped in his tracks, suddenly shouted towards the distance. Ancient king, you linger like a ghost. You haunt me endlessly. He finished speaking and turned to leave. Without any hesitation, has the ancient king arrived? Wan Pangzi looked around. There is no sight of the straw hat. The same. I didn't see him either. Let's go quickly. Wan Pangzi urged me. Until we arrived at the last time we rushed the ox cart, pulling our elderly village. The sky was already dimly lit. I was surprised that the ox cart is still parked there. The elderly man is also waiting on the ox cart. Little master, hurry up and get in the car. See us coming. He hurriedly waved his hand. It was as if it was waiting for us to be busy. This puzzled me. At the same time, vigilance also arose. Hanad, I have been waiting for you for a long time. He is urging us. A face full of charitable simplicity. Can't tell he's a bad person. I whispered to Wang Pangzi. He is a person of Waikun. No problem. He is just an ordinary person. No matter who it is. Their ultimate goal. They are all asking us to go to Fengyuan Valley. Just as I can't walk anymore. Let's take a break. Restore mental strength. We got on the ox cart. The ox cart moved slowly along the road. In the turbulence, me and Wan Pangzi eventually fell into a deep sleep. When we woke up, the ox cart has stopped outside the old Dung Miao village. The old cow and the old man are no longer here. It seems they have already left. He just left the ox cart here. It's truly a pity. Looking at the village before me, there are still some elderly people wandering around the village. They all seemed very rushed. But I hesitated a bit. After all, I disrupted their ritual last time. If those villagers see me, I can only wonder what they might do to me. Let's go. The old king is dead. No one will stop us from entering the village anymore. Wang Pangzi said up to this point, then suddenly stared at me. By the way, previously there were 2 incidents of throwing corpses into the river. Is it the ancient king? It was unexpectedly guessed correctly by Wang Pangzi. I hesitated. Should I tell him? But Wang Pangzi nodded and said, it really is him. I explained. He Gu Wan cannot leave Phoenix Valley. You still lied to me. Wang Pangzi said irritably. The living ancient king naturally cannot leave Phoenix Valley. But what if they're dead? Have you ever noticed the ancient kings you see? Is it really the true self? Wang Pangzi's words. Let me suddenly understand. When I first saw the true form of the ancient king, I can smell a peculiar herbal scent. When the ancient king saved me for the third time. But I'd have never experienced this herbal scent before. I once thought it is that the distance between him and me is too great. But when I first met Gu Wan, he has observed me up close, and then pushed me a little. At such a close distance, I didn't smell anything. This already explains the problem. That is to say, the ancient kings I have seen, it should be his soul, with his abilities. Soul leaves the body. There is absolutely no problem. Plus, he is already dead. The ancient king after death, the soul leaves Phoenix Valley. It's not really a violation. But since he used his soul, you can only retreat from the sorcerer. The sorcerer. Is it impossible to enter Phoenix Valley? The sun sets in the west. The sky gradually blurred. Just as I was filled with doubt, Wang Pangzi pointed at the village. It's not good. They have already entered. I looked towards the village. As the sky gradually darkened, I can feel it inside. Faintly discernible malevolence. In the village. Clearly, something is wrong. Quick, go in and take a look. I no longer hesitate. Entered the village with Wang Pangzi. Once you enter it, a chilling wind blew in. Let me and the chubby guy shiver all over. I couldn't help but become more vigilant. But what surprised us was, until we ventured deep into the village, there was no danger encountered. As for the villagers that could still be seen earlier, has already disappeared. Where has everyone gone? I was in doubt. The chubby one pointed into the distance. A room that has just been lit. They all entered the room. We continue to move forward. The goal is Phoenix Valley. But after taking just a few steps, I felt something is pressing down on my neck. I stopped in my tracks. At the same time, Wang Pangzi also stopped in his tracks. I glanced over at Wang Pangzi. Wang Pangzi also happened to glance at me. I asked, "Can you feel it?" Wang Pangzi nodded at me with a serious expression. I was about to turn around. He suddenly shouted, "Don't look back." His words fell. I felt a cool breeze pass over my shoulders. Wang Pangzi shifted his footsteps. As he stepped closer to me, I saw a shadow crawling on his back, and behind it, also followed by a group of little ghosts. The little ghosts were continuously blowing at him. The sun's fire ignited on my shoulders. Saying, I should also be like the fat guy behind me. If I had just turned back, the sun fire on my shoulders, it is very likely to be extinguished by those little ghosts. At that time, my soul scatters. It's quite troublesome. I quicken my pace, walking alongside the fat guy. But soon, our footsteps start to move, just unusually hard working. This should be both legs, also held by some evil spirits. I whispered, "What is going on?" Wang Pangzi said, "This place has turned into a realm of ghosts. Kamen, it should really be starting now. We need to hurry into Phoenix Valley." I said with a bitter smile, "It should be a bit troublesome, right? There are at least thousands of lonely souls and wild ghosts behind us. This kind of scene, this is my first experience. Just thinking about it is terrifying. And if I cast a spell, it's good that they will retreat out of instinctive fear. If it continues uncontrollably, rushing forward one after another, I'm just afraid I can't let go of a few. It will drain your spiritual energy." Wang Pangzi is now sweating coldly. It could be from being scared. It could also be due to fatigue. After all, he is overweight, dragging so many little ghosts forward. "It will be harder for you than for me. Can't move forward, but can't turn back either. Even if we waste the whole night with them, we can't fight them to the death either. My mental strength has not yet recovered. These lonely souls and wandering spirits, as long as the ferocity is triggered, will lose their reason. When the time comes, you and I both need to explain ourselves here." The fat man replied, "As I suspected. The fearless ghost. It is the most terrifying, even if they are very small. But that thousands and thousands—" A dense wave surged in. "No one can handle it." But soon an even more desperate situation occurred. Me and the fat guy, already surrounded by those spirits, overwhelmed by the pressure. I can no longer move forward. In despair, I saw one, carrying a blue lantern. A figure is walking towards us. As the figure drew closer, I gradually saw who had arrived. It was last time at Fenghuang Valley. Twice they stopped me. That crazy old lady, thinking that she could swallow broken porcelain shards. I felt an instinctive fear towards her. She must be a subordinate of the Valley King. What is she doing here at this time? I am filled with doubt. But just as I was filled with doubt, the lantern in her hand, already raised high. "Let's go quickly," she said to us. Me and the fat guy, I can feel the pressure on my body easing up. Clearly, it is she who is for us. Chased away those ghosts. Mother-in-law. I was about to say something to her. She anxiously said to me, "Hurry inside. Keep moving forward without looking back. The moon is waiting for you inside." I can't think of anything. She actually helped me. Wang Pangzi suddenly grabbed me, swiftly departing, until we ran a few dozen steps later. I heard a scream behind me. It was the terrible scream of that old woman. I can't help but turn back. Wang Pangzi quickly intervened. "Lai Liadi, don't look back. Hurry up and run. I can already smell the blood. The entrance to Phoenix Valley is right ahead. But I don't want to get involved anymore. The old woman would even risk her life. Block the evil spirit for me. How can I simply walk away like this? Human life is of utmost importance. I need to stay and share her burden. With the might of my benevolent sword, perhaps we can let ourselves." All safely rushed into Phoenix Valley. Xiao Ping'an, "Come in quickly." Suddenly, a voice sounded. I stopped, just about to chant the spell aloud. That is the voice of Yue. I looked towards the entrance of Fenghuang Valley. Yet there was no sign of the moon. That sound was like. It echoes in my heart. "Chad, you should hurry up and go inside. You want this half of my body. Is the old woman buried in the ground really dead? Behind you." The old lady came. A desperate plea echoed. I no longer hesitate. Rushing toward Phoenix Valley. After entering Phoenix Valley, me and the fat guy, they all turned their heads at the same time. The lantern in the old woman's hand, already torn to shreds. Torn to shreds. There was also the figure of an old woman. Blood spilled everywhere. The scene is not bloody at all. This made me shed tears. Fate brought us together. She is willing to save us. But the soul has scattered. But I cannot repay. Fortunately, those evil spirits, only limited to within the village. But they cannot enter Phoenix Valley. Tian Laning's tomb of Gu Wan, the tomb of the sorcerer king in the stone. Wang Pangzi was quickly stopped at the entrance of Phoenix Valley. Those graves are alluring. Xiao Pingin. Come with me quickly. Mother-in-law is waiting for you. You're... I can't believe you're okay. You're has arrived. I wiped away my tears and ran over. Wasn't she taken hostage by the sorcerer? I originally wanted to ask her what exactly happened, but when I saw her swollen red eyes, in the end I didn't ask any further. Ewer pulled me and ran towards her home. I know. Something big must have happened. Wang Pangzi shouted from behind. Lai Liadi, wait for me. We rushed to Ewer's front door in one breath. The moment she opened the door, I smelled a scent of herbs. The smell is stronger than before. It became even more pungent. Hurry to see Grandma for the last time. She is our last family member. Ewer's words. She has already regarded me as a member of her family. But I never thought this way. We should just be good friends. Ewer reminded again. Remember, he left immediately after seeing her. The worms within the grandmother are no longer under her control. It will be very dangerous if you stay too long. She finished speaking, then pushed me into the room. No light, no sunlight. The window was sealed shut. It was pitch black inside. Gu Wan was sitting cross-legged on the bed. A chill emanated from her. I am far away from her, too afraid to approach. Wang Pangzi once told me, after the Gu King dies, an autopsy will take place. The moment the parasite surged within. Even that person from the north back then, one must still exercise caution. And the Gu King before us, clearly there is no longer any vitality, and the soul is no longer within the body. If it is a sudden autopsy, my ending is predictable. You're back. Just as I cautiously approached her, a voice suddenly came from under the straw hat. Mother-in-law. I was just about to say something. She spoke up first. Tomorrow night, I can perform autopsies. Help you open the heavenly gate. After I'll leave Ewer to you. The Gu King spoke. Bowed his head. Mother-in-law, mother-in-law. I tried calling out twice. She has fallen silent. Quick, go outside. Ewer entered the room, pushed me out the door. At the same time, the door was slammed shut with a clang. Wan Pangzi was also outside the door at this time. He forced a bitter smile at me. It seems that tonight we need to protect her. I couldn't help but ask the fat man, do you know what's going on? The Gu King wants to pass on his lifelong Gu skills to her, grafted onto Ewer. No one can disturb during this time. It seems that Ewer has won the battle against the poison. She is also qualified to inherit the legacy of the Gu King. This is the birth of the new generation Gu King. I looked around the room, as already perked up. But fortunately, although the outside of the house is overgrown with weeds, but there were no disturbances from mosquitoes. At the same time, I also started to feel a bit strange. This July day, mosquitoes and insects are abundant, especially in the wild at night. Without protection, not getting bitten to death, almost all of it is fortunate. But outside Ewer's home, it can even be said to be the entire Fangyuang Valley, but it's terrifyingly quiet. There are no snakes, insects, mice, or ants. I asked Wang Pangzi. He had a face full of snot. Being with Ewer for so long, you actually don't know this either? Gu Nuo, the king of all poisons. The place with rice valleys. Naturally, there won't be any other snakes, insects, mice, or ants. I see. The first half of the night was very calm, as the purple stone quietly descends. Tread, tread. Footsteps suddenly broke the silence. That was the sound made by the wooden clogs. In the distance, a figure appeared. It is the cursed lion. This person truly lingers like a haunting spirit. Both Wan Pangzi and I frowned. If he comes to cause trouble at this time, we are just afraid it will be hard to stop. The birth of a new generation of rice kings. Such a scene. It hasn't appeared for over 100 years. He held a rosary made of human bones, standing at a distance, staring at the wooden cabin. There was no intention to act hastily, dying in the waiting of the 4 seasons. I want to conjure up a word weapon and fight him, but the signaled me not to take the initiative, to avoid being plotted against by him, and pointed outside the Phoenix Valley. I gazed into the distance. Countless shadows rise and fall. Someone else has come, and not just one person. It is a corpse. Wang Pangzi pointed at those shadows, said in fear. I gazed carefully at those figures. Those figures moved like zombies. Masaki Nadi is walking step by step towards us. That is indeed a corpse. I couldn't help but glance into the distance. Xiangxi had a leisurely expression on his face. It was you who brought them here. He chuckled playfully. Want to steal a corpse without controlling the dead. Wang Pangzi suddenly pointed at the corpse cluster in the distance. It is the corpse transport Master Wai Kun. Far away, among the corpses, the corpse handler Wai Kun, coming along with those corpses. I gritted my teeth. I can't believe this old guy is still alive. It's still early. I think this guy at least has to survive the Ghost Festival. Actually, I didn't hate Wai Kun that much before. But at this moment, he wants to hinder Yor from becoming the new generation of the ancient king. Then I won't allow it. I have to take him out. Wan Pangzi grabbed me. We can't leave the cabin. Otherwise, Yor will be in danger. I had no choice but to give up. And those with numb expressions. The sluggish corpse has already drawn near. They are heading towards the cabin. It is to hinder Yor from becoming the new generation of the ancient king. I chant spells at the exit. The magnetic arrow appeared in the moment of my hand. The corpses that were about to rush towards the cabin came to a halt. I pointed at Wai Kun and shouted angrily, Wai Kun, you traitorous lapdog of the witch sect. Why, I still trust you so much. You are truly damned. Sigh. Wai Kun let out a sigh. He began to chant a spell. That was the corpse controlling spell recited in Miao language. The spell is cast. The corpses of the Muna suddenly became ferocious, no longer instinctively afraid of the magnetic arrows in our hands. Everyone rushed in recklessly. I used my magnetic arrow to knock down several charging corpses. But the horde of corpses soon followed. But it left me feeling powerless. Give me the magnetic arrow. Wan Pangzi shouted at me. He is indeed much better than me at manipulating magnetic arrows. Wan Pangzi took the magnetic arrow from my hand, continuously knocking down the waves of corpses that rush over. But soon he also began to feel a bit uncertain. He was even knocked down by a corpse. Using soul control, Wang Pangzi shouted at me. I just remembered. The soul-controlling Ling that Wai Kun left behind is still with me. But this is ultimately Wai Kun's magical artifact. Use his own weapon against him. This is somewhat unrealistic. But the urgent matter is. But there is no better way. I took out the soul-controlling spirit, and it began to sway. As the sound of the bell rang out, an unexpected scene unfolded. The once raging corpses suddenly fell silent. All eyes were on the soul-controlling spirit in my hand. The gaze became dull and quiet. Wai Kun let out a sigh. I have already tried my best. In the distance, the severed head was smirking coldly. Wai Kun questioned, What are you laughing at? The corpse of the curse said, Wai Kun, you betrayed the witch gate 40 years ago. 40 years later, once again betrayed the heavenly master. You are really fickle. You. Waikun pointed at the headless corpse, ready to scold, but suddenly began to cough violently. A hint of flush appeared on his pale face as he coughed. He sat down on the ground and lit a cigarette. He kept smoking incessantly, coughing even harder, as if that smoke can extend his life, and it could also cost him his life. But the headless corpse was still laughing heartily. You taught him how to control corpses, just like over 40 years ago. You taught Lai Lao to control corpses. You really are a fickle little person. He sarcastically mocked Waikun, but he had no intention of taking action against him. Even for me, being able to control souls and corpses. He also seemed indifferent, as if a passerby. The copper spirit that I shake, as I was thinking about moving those corpses away a bit. The corpses moved towards the direction we were thinking. This astonishing scene left me in shock. You actually learned the art of controlling corpses. Wang Pangzi looked at me with a face full of astonishment. This is the art of corpse manipulation. I became puzzled. If this can be considered one of the martial titles of the ghost path, this ghostly path truly lives up to its name. Wan Pangzi explained. Your consciousness fuses with the copper spirit's voice. The command is issued through the copper spirit's voice. Use the corpse to serve you. This is corpse controlling, though it seems easy. But I want to control the corpse, and so many corpses. But it is certainly not something any practitioner of the mystical arts can easily achieve. I see. I tried to control those corpses to move towards the zombie. This guy is like a retro abode. As soon as it appeared, it clung to me. Very annoying. Carving insects with a small sword. The voodoo corpse sneered. A skull flew out from the bone prayer beads. The skull let out a ghostly wail. A group of corpses rushed forward and fell down. A sinister energy blocked a group of corpses, and the corpse charged into that malevolent aura. Everyone fell one after another. Can't get up. The skull opened its jaw. A strong suction rushed towards his mouth. The malevolent energy from those corpses was continuously being absorbed by him. Wan Pangzi sneered. Using evil to nurture evil. No wonder it's the dark magic of the South Seas. Wan Pangzi's words. Let me stop controlling the body and rush over. Because of that skull. After absorbing the malevolent energy from those corpses, it was becoming increasingly apparent. Clearly, the malevolent aura grew stronger. Wan Pangzi kept falling down until there are no corpses left to control. I will dispose of the remaining bodies, controlled around the small cabin. If someone suddenly attacked the cabin, these corpses, at least it can help with parenting in the house. Play a certain protective role. Time passed by minute, until the ugly corpse arrives. The sound of the corpse did not make a move to stop them. But this doesn't allow me to let my guard down. The reason he doesn't take action, perhaps it's due to the fear of Bone King. He is waiting for the best opportunity. Very soon, I can sense the presence of the Eagle Shah again. He hid in the shadows, together with Lai Gang, watching the movements of the wooden house. Wan Pangzi suddenly said, Someone has entered Phoenix Valley again. He was not referring to secretly watching Lai Gang and Xiangxi. Strictly speaking, Xiangxi is the corpse Shah, but Lai Gang is a living dead. They are not alive at all. I looked in the direction that Wan Pangzi was staring at. Two silhouettes can be seen hiding in the shadows in the distance. They are the same as Lai Gang and Xiangxi. They are all hiding in the shadows, watching, ready to launch. Clearly, entering the mystical gate of Phoenix Valley. Still increasing. Why have so many people from the Chuanmen sect come? Is it to prevent the birth of the new generation of ancient kings? This cannot be helped. I became more alert. Wang Pengzi explained my confusion. Tianmen County, they are all ready to seize this opportunity. Entering the ghost market, a person from the mystical realm, I came by to witness the birth of the new generation of ancient kings. In other words, they will not stop Yuer. Became the new generation of the ancient king. It shouldn't be. Wan Pengzi speculated. This should be 40 years ago. The agreement made by the person from the north with the ancient king. That person from the north back then. Unable to enter Phoenix Valley. Nature is unwilling to accept this. And this time, he will definitely make these people help him enter it. Achieve his goal. I see. Since they won't obstruct Yuer, become the new generation of ancient kings. I also let out a sigh of relief. Time passes minute by minute, until the rooster crows for an event. Wai Kun moved. He recited the incantation. As the incantation was spoken, the bodies guarding the small cabin, it's starting to move. Wai Kun, are you still not giving up? I coldly questioned him, and conjured upward arrows. Just rushed towards him. Wan Pengzi stopped me. Lai Lao Dai, don't act impulsively. I just noticed this. Those corpses did not rush into the cabin, but under the control of Wai Kun, walking towards Phoenix Valley, until Wai Kun and that group of corpses disappeared in Phoenix Valley. Lai Gang, who was secretly observing, and that eagle demon has left as well. But the roaring lion that was about to leave still doesn't forget to greet me. Ghost Path sect member, we see the ghost. He finished speaking, quickened his pace to leave. The sky gradually brightened. Why did they all suddenly leave? I asked Wang Pengzi with confusion. Wang Pengzi, however, wore a serious expression, staring at the small cabin inside. The footsteps began to slowly retreat. He is about to leave, just like Wai Kun and the roaring lion. I held him back and questioned, are you afraid of something? You are in such a hurry to leave. Wang Pengzi replied, Senior Sister Gu Wang, the entire Phoenix Valley. There will be no living people left. Senior Sister, I remembered what Gu Wang told me last night. He said he will meet with his senior sister tonight and help me open the heavenly gate. But his senior sister, it's so terrifying. That is very likely for stop Wai Kun and the lion head for us. My mother-in-law told me tonight at midnight. He just became a senior sister. He will use senior sister. Come help us open the gate to heaven. My words. Suddenly anxious Wan Pengzi, feeling reassured. However, until the sky was completely bright. Yuer hasn't come out either. This couldn't help but make me worry. Don't worry. Yuer should be fine. Wang Pengzi comforted me, saying, but similarly, he frowned tightly. Until the sun rises in the east, the door of the cabin opened. I saw Yuer come out. I also breathed a sigh of relief. Yuer looked. There is nothing unusual. For Fatty and me, guarded him outside all night. He is also very grateful, but he did not. Let's go inside and rest. He said, the corpse of the ancient king. We are in a very critical time. Cannot be approached easily. There will be danger. Yuer moved out the chair. Me and the fat guy just barely managed to fall asleep up there. I didn't wake up until the afternoon. I asked Yuer, the journey of the drum battle in Miao. It turns out, Yuer is with a few elders. After the ancient king won the drum battle, gained the recognition of those ancient kings from the older generation, seeing him as the new generation of the ancient king. In the future, I will obey their commands. The reason why no one came down from the south to look for us. It is because of the ancient kings of the older generation. Told Ewer, the ancient king can no longer hold on. Actually, the ancient king 40 years ago, they also paid the price with their lives. And the reason the ancient king, able to live on after death, it's because he has made himself refined into a living puppet. Living goo, a type of poison or curse. It is to nourish the goo worms with flesh. When the worm inside the body, when unable to control, the goo insect will burst out of the body. At that time, that will be a terrifying scene. No wonder the ancient king's body. There will be a force to prevent the corpses. The smell of decaying herbs. It turns out that the ancient king has been dead for 40 years. All issues. It seems that everything has been resolved smoothly. The reason he, wearing all black with a straw hat. It should be for that reason. Hiding oneself changes on the corpse. A corpse that has not decayed for 40 years. The straw hat person must be a dead body, and very terrifying. I asked about that again. Last night stood up for us. The identity of the evil ghost's wife, Ewer told me. She was once a sorceress of the witch sect. Ewer calls her Granny Xu. Her surname is Xu. I felt a faint pain in my chest. My mother's surname is Xu. This mother-in-law. Will you be with my mother? What does it matter? Otherwise, why did she save me yesterday? I need to go out and take a look. Ewer stopped me. Leave it to me. I will bring her back. Ewer left Phoenix Valley. 2 hours later, she brought back a body. A stitched-up bloody corpse. The body was simply buried at the entrance of Phoenix Valley. At this time, it was already dark. I headed towards the outskirts of Phoenix Valley, looking at Liaodong Miao village. Those ghosts. It has appeared once again. They all emerged from underground. It feels like it's coming from hell. Time has quickly come to 11 o'clock at night. At this moment, Ewer brought me and Wan Pangzi. Step back together. Distance yourself from the cabin. You are standing behind me. Don't move around. Mother-in-law is about to be disassembled. The ancient king emerged from the small wooden cabin. Ewer's eyes glistened with tears. Please accept my condolences. I don't know how to comfort Ewer. Ewer smiled angrily and said, the body dissolution is a tradition of every generation of ancient kings. All are inevitable. I couldn't help but I looked at Ewer in front of me. This is hard for me to accept. Years later, the ancient king before me. This is her fate. The ancient king walked deeper into Phoenix Valley. Ewer asked us to follow her, until the ancient king stopped his footsteps. A figure stands straight in the distance. Ewer maintained a distance of 100 meters from her. The ancient king stood still. This period is very long, until the arrival of midnight. It is already July 15th. It was just me and the chubby guy. At the moment of confusion, the guardian one felt uncertain. Suddenly, the ancient king's body began to wither from afar, until the entire body, like a balloon that has been let go. A pile of clothes was left on the ground. The ancient king has completely disintegrated. It seems everything is very calm. Nothing particularly unusual happened. But at this moment, not far behind us, a sudden scream echoed. A shadowy figure darted out from the darkness, running towards us. But he didn't run over to us, but stopped about 10 meters away from us. He was a middle-aged man in his 50s. He must have secretly infiltrated Phoenix Valley, waiting for the celestial gate to enter the ghost market, the practitioners of the mystical arts. He fell to the ground, wailing continuously. and reached out a hand towards us. "Help me. Save me." But Yor remained indifferent. Wang Pangzi casually said, "He is the recent Chuanmen powerhouse, Zhao Kunpeng, skilled in the art of infiltration." But Yor didn't listen to his plea for help at all. His gaze was fixed on the spot where senior sister Gu Wang stood. Soon Fatty and I also discovered small insects occasionally appear around. It's important to know that Phoenix Valley has no snakes or insects. But at this moment it started to increase. Wang Pangzi was puzzled. "This is the adult of the ancient Wang Shaiji." Yor simply nodded slowly. "This journey is not an extraordinary one. Lu Ban stabs the evil sorcerer, evil magic tour. The disciple wore a fire hat, wearing fire clothes, footsteps in fire shoes. Chandadam. The western evil master burns the south. Northern demons and monsters burn the central evil spells. Everything turns to ash and dust. Please summon the southern dipper 6 stars. Big Dipper, seamless Teisheng Leijan, quick as the law commands." At this moment, the man writhing in pain on the ground behind me suddenly recited the incantation while chanting the spell. "He is turning calamity into fortune. Spell it out. Fu Cheng." He slammed the captive against himself. Suddenly it ignited, soon turned into a raging fire. A piercing scream makes one's scalp tingle, until the sound gradually faded away. He no longer had the strength to struggle. He is dead. Burned by the fire talisman I cast myself. Burned alive. The body is being burned to ashes. But Yor remained indifferent. Perhaps he can save him. But he didn't do that. At this moment, the place of senior sister Gu Wang, a faintly visible door to the underworld appeared. The stone gate gradually became clear, until it becomes real. "Zio Pingen, hurry up and open the door." Yor urged me to go. I gritted my teeth, heading towards that stone door. As I approach with my footsteps, can clearly feel the chilling aura emanating from the stone gate, and around. Occasionally appearing insects move aside from me. That is the ancient insect left behind by senior sister Gu Wang. I arrived at the stone door, just about to reach out to push that stone door aside. The chubby guy suddenly stopped me. "By the way, I forgot to tell you all. Master told me back then, the ghost market is a place for trading with spirits. There are 3 rules to enter the ghost market. Must remember. First, do not casually strike up conversations in the ghost market. Feel free to ask and look around. Second, people entering the ghost market. You can only make 1 transaction in it, and there should be no haggling. The things I have my eye on. Just stop in front of that thing, waiting for the other party to make an offer. But no matter what conditions he offers, you must promise. Third, do not look back in the ghost market. Looking back, I lose my soul." I nodded, regarding the rules left by the elders. We still need to follow it. In this situation, it is very likely a talisman for protection. After Wang Pangzi finished explaining, this is what prompted me to push the stone door. I pushed against the stone door. The stone door creaked. It's very heavy, but I still pushed it open with force. A cold wind blew out. It made me shiver. It is evident how heavy the negative energy inside is. From the outside looking in, within the stone gate, a thick fog enveloped everything. Cannot see the scenery inside. Wang Pangzi frowned deeply, pointed behind him. "They have arrived too." He said that. "Wai Kun and the commanding master. Of course, there are also Lai Gang and Xiangxi. Let's hurry inside. Yor has already pulled me." Step towards the stone gate. entering the stone gate. A thick fog enveloped everything. Look up, unable to see the sun, moon, and stars. Look down, can't see the dust of the land. Wang Pangzi couldn't help but exclaim, "I can't believe it. Is this the road to the underworld?" No one answered him, because no one could answer him. Continue forward. The road in the distance begins to diverge. A turn to the left. One goes to the right. I asked, "Should we part ways?" Ewer shook her head decisively. "No need. Everyone encounters danger together. It's good to look out for each other. Ultimately, we chose the path on the right. Keep moving forward." We were soon drawn to a dim oil lamp. The oil lamp flickers dimly, presenting an eerie blue, flickering in the dim light. I pointed at the oil lamp, ready to speak. Ewer grabbed it tightly. "Hold my hand down. Don't point randomly. Have you forgotten the 3 rules of the ghost market?" It seems that Ewer is also right. The so-called 3 rules are taken very seriously. After all, she is a disciple of the ancient king, and the ancient king guarded the Phoenix Valley for 40 years. It is to guard the heavenly gate. She knows better than anyone else the situation and rules in the ghost market. But I only reach for the hand of that lamp. It felt as if the shadow under the oil lamp was watching. That was an old jade from the Gulu. She just lifted her head from the oil lamp, looking towards me. It seems to be waiting for us to arrive. What should I do? I asked Ewer. These stalls should only appear in the ghost market. She clearly couldn't wait any longer. Only then would I take the risk to set up a stall here, for the journey ahead to go smoothly. But we can't force her either, since we can't turn back. We continue forward, if she insists on getting involved. Fatty, you just agreed to her terms on behalf of Xiao Pingen. Okay. The chubby man helplessly nodded. We continue to move forward, until after entering that oil lamp. I just realized this. The objects placed under the oil lamp. It's just some old gold and silver jewelry, and a copper coin that has already developed a patina. Young people, wife as a burial item. Which one do you like? She said to us. Ewer gave me a look. Don't reply to her. We pretend not to see her as she moves on. But that old jade suddenly grabbed my thigh, gave me a strange smile. She pointed to the distance. I looked in the direction she was pointing. A dilapidated city is faintly visible. Don't you know the rules of the ghost market? Since you have taken a liking to my belongings, then you must make a deal with me. Bertone left no room for refusal. I can emerge from that distant ruined city. I sense countless powerful presences in slumber. Ewer whispered, "Thatty, you go." The fat man gritted his teeth and squatted down. Pointing at the copper coin on the stall said, "Old lady, I have my eye on your things. Name your price." None people have vision. Lao Yu nodded in satisfaction, then whispered something in Wan Pangzi's ear. Until I saw Wan Pangzi, the expression changed, from shock to a frown. Obviously, Lao Yu's demands were very harsh. Lao Yu finished speaking. He handed the copper coin to the fat man, then gathered the gold and silver jewelry from the ground, leaving with the oil lamp in hand. The oil lamp swayed in the wind, as if it could extinguish at any moment. As the oil lamp extinguished, old Yu will also turn to ashes. I asked Wang Pangzi, what did the old jade say to him? Wan Pangzi glanced at the ancient ruins in the distance. The deal they made. It cannot be spoken. But if you want to know, wait until we go out. I can quietly tell you. Ewer scolded the chubby man. In the ghost market. Don't speak carelessly. Be careful not to get into trouble. Wang Pangzi snorted coldly. In the ghost market, there are countless treasures, but there are also forgeries. The item in front of the old woman, only this broken copper coin is worth something. Xiangxi said, "Show me the copper coins." Although the words above are blurry, but it can still be vaguely seen. The font looks very much like Chinese characters, but it is extremely complex. I don't recognize the characters above. I wondered, which dynasty does this coin belong to? Ewer looked at the coin in Xiangxi's hand. This is the Xiangxi script. I was completely shocked. Among the burial items of an ancient fish after its death, how could there be Western Xia coins? How did this come about? Ewer's mindset is so fragile. There are not many records in the historical texts. He is so elusive. Ewer explained. Lai Yuanhao feared that Song would not recognize his position after declaring himself emperor. Thus, they waged war against Song. His remarkable military talent prompted. He repeatedly defeated the Song army with weak forces. This forced the northern Song dynasty to acknowledge his position. Thus, the situation of the world was divided into the three factions of Song, Liao, and Xia. Lai Yuanhao wanted to distinguish the differences between Xixia and the Central Plains. Thus, the Xixia script was established. The circulation of Xixia coins was not extensive. There aren't many badas left. Therefore, the value is quite considerable. Perhaps it's due to being a disciple of the ancient king. Ewer knows a lot of things. But at the same time, I have to admire Xiangxi's insight. And when it comes to Xia, it made me think of again. Waikun initially gave the chubby man the bronze flow gold figurine. Xixia was a mysterious kingdom. Many things need to be verified. The artifacts preserved in nature are also limited. But we met twice. It's hard to believe this is just a coincidence. We continue to move forward. Soon they approach the ruins of the ancient city. Blue oil lamps lit up everywhere along the streets. Some are very bright, while others are dim and dull. At first, we all walked with our heads down. But Xiangxi was quickly enchanted by the things placed under the oil lamps. He suddenly stopped in front of a dim oil lamp. The figure under the oil lamp slowly raised its head. "Young man, what did you set your eyes on?" "Take it." Xiangxi reached out to pick up a green bracelet. At first glance, it is clearly carved from fine jade. The figure under the oil lamp nodded slightly. Then, after whispering something in Xiangxi's ear, "Put away your things," turning around with the oil lamp in hand. Watching that departing figure, I couldn't help but whisper a reminder. Isn't it said that everyone can only trade once in the ghost market? Panzi, you have broken the rules. Xiangxi smiled wryly. This is just how I am. As soon as I see something valuable, I can't move. There's really no way out. I asked again, what will happen if the rules are broken? Xiangxi said, "Do you know of any ancient gains that come with a curse?" Pause. I recalled the way. "Are you talking about those inauspicious antiques on the market?" I heard my grandfather talk about a piece of blood-stained ancient jade. That piece of ancient jade was bought and sold several times. But every buyer ultimately backs out for some reason. An unexpected incident occurred. Even some scholars. Everyone became interested in that piece of jade, but without exception, the one who obtained that piece of jade. Later, they all died due to some unforeseen circumstances. I only thought, Grandpa just wanted to tell me. One should not be greedy for wealth. Perhaps Grandpa was trying to subtly tell me something else. Xiangxi nodded. Things like this. Actually, most of it comes from the ghost market. Some people think they have outsmarted the ghost inside, and after taking their things outside, but were unable or unwilling to fulfill their final wishes, you will suffer their curse. This curse power is very strong. That is the order established by the evil spirits within the entire ghost market. Wan Pangzi's words, "You scared me. If you do it this way, isn't it also cursed?" Wan Pangzi nodded helplessly. "It's already taken. What other way's there? Just be careful next. Sometimes it's not just a simple curse." Ewer glanced into the depths of the ruins. A deep apprehension was revealed in their gaze. We continued to move forward. It was now Ewer leading the way. Wan Pangzi is too greedy for money. If he walks ahead, he just stopped at a stall somewhere. As we moved forward for a while again, the thing I was worried about has happened. Wan Pangzi couldn't move again. They both remained in front of an extremely dim oil lamp. He stared at a piece of gold jewelry at the stall and wouldn't leave, and the figure under the oil lamp revealed a strange smile. Wan Pangzi squatted down. The figure under the oil lamp, after conveying the final wishes to him, put away the belongings, leaving with the oil lamp in hand. Wan Pangzi put away the gold jewelry, a face full of greed. Ewer's expression had turned serious. Questioned, "Pangzi, are you looking for trouble? Just this once. Next, it won't happen." Wan Pangzi awkwardly scratched his head, apologized to Zhang Ewer. Ewer's gaze occasionally drifted towards the depths of the ruins, as if there is a terrifying presence there. And next, I started to be wary of Wan Pangzi. As long as he slows down his pace, I will push him to move faster, but this is still useless. Until he caught me off guard again, squatting in front of an oil lamp, displayed a face full of greed. He made another deal with a ghost. Emotions, this guy. It's about deceiving and tricking people. "Pangzi, you got us into trouble." Ewer furrowed her brows, gazing intently into the depths of the ruins. In the depths of the ruins, suddenly countless green eyes appeared, looking this way towards us. You are reminded, be careful from now on. They have already started to notice us. Meanwhile, we heard footsteps behind us. A cold laugh came from behind. It's the voice of that sorcerer. They have already followed us, but we dare not look back. Wan Pangzi still didn't take it seriously at this moment. It's not necessarily us that they pay attention to. Maybe it's Wai Kun and the sorcerers behind. Are you looking for a fight? I was so angry that I wanted to punch him. Ewer signaled me to be quiet. I haven't had an outburst yet. Next, I simply walk alongside Wan Pangzi and grabbed his shoulder to prevent him from being enchanted by treasures again. This guy has gone crazy. Money over life. But even so, after walking for a while, I still couldn't stop him. He crouched down again, nodding at the silhouette under the oil lamp. Looking at the antiques on the ground, saliva dripped from my mouth. Under the oil lamp, the ghost frowned, but it didn't stop Wan Pangzi from taking his things. He still expressed his last wish. Then he shot a glare at Wan Pangzi, turning away with the oil lamp in hand. Clearly, he is also not at ease with Wan Pangzi, but constrained by the rules. He didn't refuse either. Are you crazy? Ewer and I both stared at him. Wan Pangzi awkwardly smiled. Things have come to this point. I am now a lion, no longer afraid of bites. Anyway, I won't live much longer. It's better to take out more valuable items. Ewer suddenly said coldly, "If you continue like this, then don't travel with us anymore." "All right. I will go ahead. I'll meet up with you later." Wan Pangzi seemed to be waiting for this sentence from Ewer. He quickened his pace. He walked right in front of us. "You're the fat guy. This is his own doing. We are unable to help him." Yuer and I continued on our way. "But I just don't know the purpose of this trip. Is it really? Can you find something valuable inside to take out?" I became completely lost. Grandpa's body was not found. The eagle spirit was not dealt with. The person from the north, still setting traps for me along the way. Just an antique. What use can it be to me again? Yuer suddenly said, "Xiao Ping'an." Mother-in-law led us into the ghost market. Actually, it's to find something. It suddenly dawned on me, since the ancient king has allowed me to enter. That must be it. What could be the reason? I hurriedly asked, "What is it?" "I don't know either." Mother-in-law only said, "You will find it." The moon's answer. You've left me speechless. She doesn't know about feelings either. Why did we enter the ghost market? But it wasn't until we had continued on for half an hour that the road ahead has come to an end, and Wan Pangzi, at a stall ahead, with a ghost trader. This guy was almost in the hands of that ghost. Snatched the burial items. This scene. My eyelids are twitching. This guy really doesn't care about his life. I asked Yuer, "What should I do?" Yuer angrily said, "Don't pay attention to this fat guy." As we passed by Wan Pangzi, he greeted me, "Lai Liadi, this ghost market is a bit small. It seems we have to take this path." He pointed to a narrow path leading deep into the alley. "That is the road leading deep into the ruins of the ancient city." Looking at that road, Yuer and I both stopped in our tracks. In that depth, countless pairs of green eyes are watching us. It was as if it was waiting for us to walk in and meet our doom. "Let's go. We want to find what we desire. You have to go inside." Wan Pangzi was the first to walk in, bulging all over. When leaving, it also made a sound of metal clashing. The bones in this guy's body. It's already too much to let go. I asked the moon, "What should I do?" "There are no more rules left inside. If you enter it, those evil spirits, you can completely disregard the rules, call us to stay. But it seems that right now it can't be avoided, because Waikan and the others have already gotten there first." As the moon spoke, as already lifted their head. Looking deep into it, I saw a familiar shadow. It was the corpse driver Waikan. I didn't expect they would enter it ahead of time. We followed behind Wan Pangzi. Yuer signaled us to keep our distance from Wan Pangzi. If you encounter danger, we should retreat in time as well. Wan Pangzi walked very quickly, until we passed by Waikan's side. He greeted us, "Little master, you arrived so quickly. Let's travel together. It's good to have someone looking out for you." HMPH. I let out a cold snort. Ignored him, for the one who betrayed the door. I won't thank him. But Wan Pangzi has no boundaries. Patting Waikan's shoulder. A smirk on his face. That one slap down. Almost took Waikan's life. "All right. Old man, you go ahead. Just in time to lead us. The motion king Peng's eye. It is to let him take my place." Waikan had a dark expression, but did not refuse. "That's it. Waikan is leading the way ahead." Wan Pangzi's memoir. Yuer and I followed at the back. Deep in the ruins, houses on the verge of collapse are everywhere. Among the ruins, it is countless terrifying presences. I stared at Waikan in confusion and asked Wan Pangzi, the sorcerer and Lai gang, "Why didn't you come with him?" Wan Pangzi sneered. "They each had their own hidden agendas. It is not something that can be handed down to the younger generation." Indeed, The sorcerer has allied himself with that person from the north. But his purpose, in fact, it was to bring the southern sea cult north. And why can't? His soul-controlling spirit is still in my hands. This makes it hard for me to believe. It was just a coincidence. In the end, it was still Wycon who taught me to dare to try. Perhaps he has too many unavoidable circumstances. I shouldn't blame him too much. Stop. Ewer suddenly grabbed my arm, watching warily ahead. In front, Wycon and Wan Pangzi also stopped in their tracks, deep within the ruins all around. Countless pairs of green eyes. At this moment I opened my eyes. Rushing towards us, Wan Pangzi said, "We are surrounded." He began to retreat. We leaned against each other. Same. Wycon also stepped back. I hurriedly asked, "What should we do next?" Wan Pangzi said, "Using a magnetic sword, perhaps it could intimidate them. Heaven and earth, the mysterious origin, root of all Kai, Sealing Tian Den, Liu Jia Liu Ding." As my incantation is spoken, they quicken their pace, surging towards us from all sides. Do not recite the incantation. It will provoke them. Wycon anxiously reminded me, but it's already too late. My spell flowed seamlessly. The magnetic sword has already taken form. As the light of my magnetic sword appeared, those surging green sprouts all stopped around the ruins. Surround us. I can feel it. That was countless greedy gazes. Greed mixed with caution. They are wary of the magnetic sword in my hand. Wan Pangzi suggested, "Let's keep moving forward and give it a try." We tried to take a step forward, but Wycon blocked our way. He pointed at the green-haired person and said, "He is here." I looked in the direction he pointed. Deep within the ruins, there is a brighter green lantern, coming towards us. As he drew closer, trembling in the midst of ghostly powers, the green creature was gradually growing bigger, until two large eyes resembling lanterns appeared. When it appeared in the sky above us, I am trembling with fear, just because of the monster's enormous size. That's a bit too exaggerated. I tried to see its true form, but it was wrapped all over by the swirling packages, except for those two lantern-sized eyes, emitting a faint green glow, and cannot see clearly at all. It seems to be deliberately hiding its true form. As it drew closer, a large indistinct black hand suddenly peered out. "They are coming for us. Don't let it see the light of the magnetic sword. Quick, lie down," Wycon reminded us, and was the first to crawl on the ground. As Ewer and Wan Pangzi lay down one after the other, I immediately pressed the magnetic sword beneath me. That black hand swept over our heads. I crashed into a pile of ruins, stirring up a whirlwind. When its hand was pulled back, it is precisely the direction in which we crawl. When the big hand grabbed it, stirring up a wave of fishy winds. To be precise, that big hand is grabbing someone. After that voice came out, the black hand above my head suddenly stopped. It was Wycon's voice. Wycon had already stood up and released them. They were just younger generations after all. "It's you haven't died after all." A shocked and hoarse voice emerged from the massive shadow, indistinguishable in gender. But what shocked us even more was that the giant shadow actually recognized Wycon. Wycon looked up at the enormous shadow and said, "Not only am I alive, he is alive too. He is still here." The voice of the shadow clearly carried a sense of apprehension. Wycon quickly added, "Not only did he not die, but he became even stronger." Wycon was speaking while signaling to us, indicating that we should leave quickly. Wycon signaled to us with his eyes while speaking, meaning for us to hurry and leave. Wycon's voice echoed from above, and those lantern-sized eyes suddenly turned to me. I could feel the deep wariness in his gaze, wary of the captive in my hands. "Let them go. I'll stay behind and face your judgment." The shadow agreed, clearly wary of that person from the north. Looking at the captive in hand, I felt a deeper shock at the immense power of that person from the north, a strength that seemed unattainable. A black hand fell towards Wai Kun. "Hurry up and go find Lai Layasin." Wai Kun shouted at us, "Let's go, let's go." Wan Pengzi led the way ahead, while Yue turned me around and continued deeper. We quickened our pace. Although the green creatures were frightened off by the talisman in my hand, they were still lurking in the darkness, watching our every move. "The Sishi machine is ready to go. Stop." When that huge black monster distanced itself from us, Wang Pangzi suddenly told us to stop. He walked to the corner of the ruins and lit a candle. The burning candle's bright light quickly changed from red to green, causing the surrounding green creatures to stir once more as they attempted to come closer to us. However, due to the pressure from the Celestial Master's captives, they had to stop at a distance. I'd asked in confusion, "Are you going to watch the wax?" The fat man shook his head. "It's not me looking, it's you." "What do you mean?" "Looking at the candle is extremely dangerous. If no one blows out the candle for you midway, your spirit may scatter as the candle burns out. When observing the wax, one must not be disturbed, as this can pose a deadly danger to the observer. The current situation is not suitable for watching wax." "Why is Wang Pangzi showing me the wax now? What is he up to?" Wang Pangzi explained that only in this way can we find your grandfather. "Find my grandfather?" I am even more confused. Just now, Waikun told us to quickly leave and find Lai Lao San. Is my grandfather in the ghost market? "Fatty, what else do you know?" I stared at him and questioned. Years ago, Lai Laosan had secretly visited Phoenix Valley, and after he left, he lost a soul and a spirit. Over the years, everyone believed that his soul was in the hands of that person in the north, but it seems that his soul should have remained in the ghost market. And perhaps this is the reason why Gu Wang allows you to open the heavenly gate to enter the ghost market. I never expected my grandfather also lost a soul and a spirit, and they were left in the ghost market. Ewer, remember to blow out the candles in time. After capturing the Celestial Master, I spoke to Ewer. Then, filled with doubt, I wrote T. It's difficult, very similar to being a bit frozen. Yet he stole the money. To be honest, we are not sincere. It should be fine. You don't dream either. Thank you, because as long as you lean in this direction, we won't hold back a bit. The fact is cut down before the date end. It concerns our showdown with that person from the north. Unusual, so it will consume even more mental energy. You must concentrate all your energy. Try calling your grandfather in your mind. I tried to follow Wang Pangzi's advice. Soon, some shadows appeared before my eyes. The candlelight grew brighter and brighter. Yet a voice suddenly rang out in my mind. "Don't look anymore." The voice was old and familiar. It's Grandpa's voice. Why did Grandpa ask me to stop watching? My mental focus was distracted again. Meanwhile, a strange voice came from behind. "Quickly blow out the candle." Beside them, Ewer and Wan Pangzi, as if facing a great enemy. Suddenly, the blurry double image suddenly vanished. The surroundings fell into darkness once again. Someone blew out the candle. It's not Ewer. It's not Wan Pangzi either. A middle-aged man carrying a cowboy backpack appeared before us, medium height, an ordinary appearance. The skin is slightly yellow. It gives the image of a migrant worker going out for work. I can't see any malice in him. I questioned, "It was you who blew out the candle. Do you know where this place is?" He pointed at the candle on the ground and said, "In the ghost market, watching the wax. Do you not want to live any more?" I questioned, "What do you mean?" "Since this person has appeared in the ghost market, they are definitely not ordinary individuals." He said to me coldly, "I want to walk out alive. You all have to listen to me." Wan Pangzi said angrily, "Why should we listen to you?" The middle-aged man stared at Wang Pangzi. "You are Zhao Laoxi's disciple Wan Xiaocheng. Is that right? Who are you again?" For the other person to call out their name. Wang Pangzi was also taken aback. Clearly, the other party knows us inside out. This at least proves that the other party came prepared. But we don't know each other at all. This not only made Wang Pangzi alert. Yue and I also showed a wary expression towards him. "My surname is Liu." The other party simply replied. Yet Wang Pangzi fixed his gaze intently on the other person. With a high, bulging backpack on my back, Wang Pangzi reached out to pat the backpack. The sound of metal clashing echoed. Wang Pangzi's expression suddenly changed. First is the shock. Then came a face full of smiles. "So it's old Liu. Nice to meet you." He suddenly disappeared, alert, warmly greeting each other, and they linked arms. This scene took both Yue and me by surprise. Wan Pangzi turned around and said, "Lai Liadi, hurry up. Liu Leaj is our friend. He means no harm." Yue stared at the backpack on old Liu's back. "He is just like this fat guy. It's to shop at this ghost market. These two people share a common goal, and they are the kind of people who would do anything for money." But Wan Pangzi was so at ease with the other party. We have also lowered our guard. Followed behind, Lao Liu's excessive enthusiasm for Wan Pangzi. Doubt, what is old Liu's true identity? Why is Wan Pangzi so shamelessly trying to curry favor with the other party? Old Liu suddenly said to me, "Do you know why I stopped you from watching the wax?" I asked him, "Why, if you deplete your mental energy in this ghost market, do you think you can still walk out?" His words made me break out in a cold sweat immediately. All I rely on is the magnetic sword. If my mental strength is drained, without being able to transform into a magnetic sword, I will become no different from an ordinary person. When the time comes, the demons waiting for the seasons to come amidst the ruins, I fear that even the slightest breeze could carry away my fragile soul. I just summarized it. But his next sentence shocked me even more. "I just saw Lai Laosin from back in the day inside." I stopped in my tracks. The moon and Wan Pangzi also stopped in their tracks. Yue suddenly questioned, "There are two ways to enter the ghost market. A being from the world of the living, the other one comes from the underworld. I don't know how you, old Liu, entered the ghost market." Lao Liu smiled mysteriously, did not answer Yuer's question. Changing the subject, "Time is tight. I'll take you to meet Lai Lao San first." He finished speaking and quickened his pace. The old Liu in front of me is very mysterious, but Wan Pangzi seems to know a lot about him. Along the way, I whispered to Wang Pangzi, "What is the background of this Liu family? This person is very important to us moving forward. When the ghost market opened, I'll tell you again." Wang Pangzi didn't rush to tell me. We quickened our pace for the next leg of the journey. As the moon market deepens, the green sprouts among the ruins around began to multiply. They are already impatient, could fall into madness at any moment. No longer fearing anything, Yue glanced at the more densely swirling green fuzz, worriedly asked old Liu, "How much longer until we arrive?" "It's coming soon. Just ahead." Lao Liu pointed ahead. "A blue light is flickering there." flickering, as we kept moving closer to that blue light. Only then did I realize it was an oil lamp. Under the oil lamp there is an old man. It's my crying, thin grandfather. Grandpa. I shouted at him and rushed towards him, but he didn't react at all. Clearly, he can't hear me speaking. You are held onto me. This is his lingering soul. It is a certain obsession. He persevered. Your soul is unlike that of ordinary people. Just rush over. It will scatter his soul. I stopped in front of Grandpa, holding back tears. He lifted the dim oil lamp in front of him, looked at me. Meanwhile, footsteps sounded behind me. It is the sound of a wooden chicken taking off its shoes. The headmaster has arrived. At the same time, I also sensed the presence of the eagle Sha. It seems Xiangxi has also arrived. We block him. To buy time for Lai Ping'an, Lao Liu's voice came through. Yi and Wan Pangzi. And there's Yor, stood behind me. Grandpa saw me clearly, slowly extended the hand. He handed me a palm-sized map. I reached out to take it. That should just be half a map. There are obvious silk marks, just like the material of the map left behind by the ancient king. It feels exactly the same as the era. Grandpa suddenly said, "Go north." He uttered 3 words, then, those surging green sprouts. It finally erupted. Like a tide, it surged towards us. And Yazi, hurry and go. I will stop them. Grandpa spoke. Grandpa, I originally wanted to say something, but they were taken away by old Liu and Fat Wang. You were the empress. And a voice came through. Xiao Ping'an, never look back. But I can't listen anymore. If grandfather's lingering soul has scattered, that would mean he can never enter the cycle of reincarnation. He was terrified. Just at the moment I turned around, I saw the sorcerer and Xiangxi charging towards us. They are equally afraid of the evil spirits emerging from deep within the ruins. After all, those evil spirits are not only numerous, and has already fallen into madness. I saw Xiangxi screaming in agony. He was captured by a group of evil spirits. After a struggle, he was dismembered on the spot. It was at this moment the oil lamp in front of Grandpa suddenly became bright. As the oil lamp brightens, his figure is also getting larger. I quickly understood the reason why Grandpa's spirit had grown larger. Related to that oil lamp, Grandfather is a phantom. As the light of the oil lamp changed, his soul gradually changed. Grandpa's massive figure blocked the evil spirits and shouted at us, "Leave here quickly." Wan Pangzi and Lao Liu quickened their pace. Similarly, Yor is also quickening her pace. Even the sorcerer was not willing to fall behind. I saw Waikun in the distance again. He was haunted by a group of evil spirits. But he was saved by his grandfather. Lai Lao San, I never expected our goodbye to be like this. Waikun cupped his fists toward him. Then it chased after us. Xiao Ping'an, don't look anymore. Yor's voice made me turn my head back. Grandpa exhausted his last remnant of soul to save us. I can't let him sacrifice himself for nothing. But just at the moment I turned back, I suddenly realized Yor and the others quickened their pace. Even the sorcerer and Waikun quickly surpassed me one after the other. Yor, wait for me. I shouted anxiously at Yor. As I looked towards Wan Pangzi and Lao Liu, who were getting farther away from me, suddenly froze, because old Liu and Fat Wang are driving another version of me, continued to flee outside. Fatty, wait for me. I shouted hoarsely, but they can't hear anything at all. At the same time, grandfather's spirit also began to shrink. In the distance, the densely packed evil spirits are rushing towards me. I desperately chased after Ewer, but the whole person feels light as a feather. It can't even start. Why are there two of me? Why do I speak? They can't hear. I have too many doubts in my heart. Until a strong wind blew up, I was engulfed in darkness. Those also caught in the darkness. Grandpa still hides the soul. I was about to reach for Grandpa, but my consciousness gradually became blurry. In the blur, I seemed to hear my grandfather's voice. Xiangxi, this is the last time Grandpa will help you. Only by reaching the soul barrier can one fall into the shadows. Xiangxi has the opportunity to learn the ultimate martial arts of the entire realm. Grandpa, I shouted at Grandpa, but no sound would come out. In the year of the metal ox, on the day of the new moon, Lai Pingen, a newcomer, at one time he lived for 8. Jin Yang's life has come to an end. Clarifying one's identity, sent to the underworld. In a daze, I heard the sound of judgment again. I am working hard. I want to wake up, but cannot control one's own consciousness. The dark iron chain is wrapped around my neck. I can faintly feel that the ghostly emissary was leading me. Only the sound of countless wretched wails can be heard. All the restless spirits, being led forward by a ghostly figure. There are also spirits full of sweet talk, pleasing the yin soldiers. The desire for survival in humans is incredibly strong. Yet, no matter how the soul pleads, how to use all your skills to escape, the death chains in the hands of the shadow soldiers cannot be broken. Similarly, some souls are like me, walk straight ahead in a daze. I suddenly realized this is the road to the Yellow Springs. I am already dead. The soul is being pulled by the ghostly messenger to the capital city of the underworld, Fengdu. Along the way, the wandering soul that moves slowly, beaten mercilessly by the chains of the ghostly enforcers, no matter how weary the soul becomes, the ghostly messengers won't let you rest or delay your journey. We must hurry on our journey. Walk out of this path of Yellow Springs. Unless your soul is scattered, I don't want to die either. It's not that my desire to survive is so strong, just because I have too many things left undone. I can't die yet. A strong spirit of resistance. Let me stop my steps. I realized my consciousness was gradually returning until that soul-snatching ghostly envoy. I refused to accept this. I uttered 4 words. The ghostly envoy's expression immediately darkened. The iron chain in hand is about to whip towards me. But just at that moment, as my consciousness gradually awakened, my illusory soul is gradually becoming solid. The ghostly envoy showed a look of suspicion, until I roared like the ghost of that ghostly official, indistinguishable from it. The ghost messenger was also frightened. I instinctively recited the incantation, heaven and earth, the mysterious religion, root of all Kai, 4 spirit lanterns, Liujio Liuding, help me eliminate essence. Demon King form. In addition, this sword was actually conjured by me. This surprised me greatly. Crimson light,